Hey, Brian Krause here, and today we're going to run a ransomware attack on a Windows machine. Now, before we do this, I do want to talk about a couple real quick concepts around identity management. Earlier, last week, I think it was, I was talking about the idea of restricting access to the local admin account and some of the needs to set up local users with that really establishing least privilege management. That's just the general concept that a user should have the level of access they need for their job, no more, no less. This is definitely very good, and it stops tons of attacks, and it makes it really hard for some sort of hacker to get into a machine and elevate their privilege to do, nefarious, reconnaissance and move their way up into a network. However, there are a lot of attacks that can happen in the user space. And what this really means when I say in the user space, a malicious actor, a piece of software, is able to execute certain commands that is considered allowed. So an application may be able to go in and write over a certain file. And when you start looking at writing over a certain file, this is exactly what happens during encryption. And during a ransomware attack, that's exactly what happens. Some software goes across and it encrypts all of the files that it can. Then from there, it's going to remove whatever that encryption key is and give you some sort of message saying, hey, you need to pay Bitcoin or some sort of amount of money in order to get an encryption key so you can unlock all of your data. The unfortunate thing about this is it was done in the user space. These were all what you'd consider sort of a legal command, and it's really hard to stop these. That's something I want to show you is just one method that we can do this. And this is really done by having strong identity management. We're going to look at identity from a slightly different angle. Normally, when we talk identity, we think of, hey, I have a specific user. In my case, I'm Brian. So my username is going to be Brian with a password. The world of machines now knows I'm the right person accessing the system. In the world of applications, it's kind of a similar concept where you have one application accessing another application or one service accessing another service. Think of a web server, right? You serve to a web page. There's all sorts of back-end databases. Most of us don't actually understand how that works. We kind of know it's out there. But all of these communications, there is some level of authentication that's happening. So this front-end server knows to talk to the back-end database. Now back to the ransomware example that I'm talking about. Here we have a piece of software. It goes and it's going to encrypt files. This is technically allowed with the different roles, permissions, and rules that have been set up just because you have to allow users to interact with the system, or there's really no purpose in having a user on a laptop or a desktop. As we go through this, I'm going to show you exactly how this works. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set a policy that says, hey, I'm not going to allow unknown software to access my machine. And when all of a sudden we restrict unknown software, the ransomware no longer attacks. And that's something that's really cool. Now, what's the difference between known and unknown software? It's pretty simple. Some software we know about, things from Microsoft, Adobe, Apple, there's lots of commercial packages that are very well known, and we can reasonably assume they're safe to trust. And then there's just millions, probably billions of other software we know nothing about and probably can't necessarily trust. And that's exactly what we'll do. We'll create a policy that says, hey, I'm going to stop unknown software from accessing my system, and this is going to break the ransomware attack. With that said, let's hop in and I'm going to run you through an attack scenario. Here, we're looking at my desktop. Pretty ordinary. I have a personal folder in it. I have some different files. We can take a look at my file spreadsheet. As you can see, it has some information about salaries. I could go into my passwords from my old PC. That's in Word. Sure enough, have some information there. I just received an email. And it says, hey, Brian, take a quick look at this sales plan. You may have a macro, enable content. Thanks, boss man. Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's take a quick look at this file. Uh-oh. Ha ha ha. You've been infected by ransomware. Check your personal folder. Well, that doesn't seem so hot.
So let's go into my personal folder. Notice all of my files are gone, but I got this read it. And lo and behold, files have been encrypted with Shiva. Send me some Bitcoins or say goodbye to your files. Definitely bad news for me. I've been hit with ransomware, and lo and behold, all of my files are encrypted. If I go into the personal folder and we try to open them, they're just not going to work. They're literally doesn't do anything. What can I do to fix it? Well, as luck would have it, I happen to have the decryption key for this. This is actually some lousy ransomware. I don't think it's fully formed and was never really used in the wild too much. But if I go into my decryption key, I can come here, have a creepy little skull. It opens up, asks for my decryption password, which I will put that in. And we can come back to my personal folder. Whew, things are looking good. Now, something I want to show next is what could we actually do to protect from this? And I had mentioned we need to restrict access. And we're going to do this through a product called Endpoint Privilege Manager that's made by CyberArk. And I am going to log into this console, and they have something that's really cool here. It's called policies. I'm going to go into the default policies. And CyberArk, identity management company, I kind of know them well because I work there. And what we have is we have this little option here to protect against ransomware. Right now it's off. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click restrict access. It's going to say, do I want to put it into protection mode? I'll click yes. And there's a little agent that is on my machine here. And what this agent is doing, it is doing some identity management. And I need to enable it. So I'm going to request that the setting gets applied. And it's taking a look for unknown applications. And if an unknown application tries to make certain questionable changes to my system, it's going to block it. Let's go to my file here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to open this file. Look at this. All of a sudden, we get this restrict access. And it says that there's this description of Shiva. What's happened? The Endpoint Privilege Manager has seen we have a weird application, an unknown one, trying to access system resources, and it stops it. Like that, we have now blocked a ransomware attack. One other thing we can do that is kind of cool, we can go back into the software. And in the software, we'll see we have some events management, and we'll see, hey, lo and behold, that the Shiva ransomware is the event that happened. I hope you enjoyed my demo.
Do you like me? Do you like my content? Well, do me a huge favor. Give me a like, subscribe, follow me, maybe share a repost, and definitely give me some comments of what you think about my video. Thank you very much, and have a great day.